Hi everybody, thanks for joining me. This is Rosina Starr. We're going to do a video called The Narsissist Backstabbing World of Friendship, and I'm going to share some situations I've been in, which you can call either coincidences or setups, I guess you could call it, from the narcissist to the individual they're trying to control and manipulate through other people, and you can let me know what you think. So, if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. I always have to say that. I always forget. So there is a girl I used to talk to. We will call her Nora, okay? And Nora and I used to work at a nightclub together, and she had broken the rules so many times and done illegal things and gotten caught doing it that they actually asked her to leave. And I couldn't believe with the type of money she was making that she would have risked her job there. But, you know, being a narcissist that she is, the rules don't apply to her. So, you know, she then was one of the first people to try to offer me new things I haven't really done before, and I thought that was kind of odd. But anyway, not being desperate for friendship, but she is a lot younger than me, a little bit younger than me, and I kind of felt bad for her situation, having, you know, an autistic son and stuff like that. And she was really resentful of her baby's dad, how he kind of abandoned the whole relationship and left her with the son. And I did everything I could to kind of help her, and she really played on my sympathy for that. As I went along in our friendship and really helped her out with everything, I noticed that she started to take me for granted little by little. She would just kind of expect me to pick her up. Even though she had her own car to drive, she'd want me to pick her up across town. Like if I lived in a town, she'd want me to drive a town away to pick her up. But it was always kind of weird. And when she didn't have a car or something or didn't have clothes, I would always be expected to help her out. Like, pay attention to these people that are in your life. They're always like, can I have a charger? Can we stop and get fast food somewhere? Can I borrow $1? Can I borrow a shirt? You know, they're just so needy that it's almost like a burden to your life. You know what I mean? Like, oh, do you want a couple dollars for gas? Oh my gosh, my card isn't working. Oh, well, there's a fucking shock. You know, you can call somebody, you know, misunderstanding or whatever, but I think a lot of this is just basically, I believe a lot of this is planned out by them just to see what they can kind of get away with. And if they can get away with it, why won't they? You know what I'm saying? So I think that these types of people plan a lot of this stuff out and have it work to their favor always. So going along in the relationship, I had just, you know, broken up with my narcissist not too long ago. She kind of knew I was in a low spot. I go over to her house one night and I bring Belvedere vodka, some cranberry juice, and she was going to have some company over, this guy that we both kind of knew, but she actually knew him before I did. And he didn't want to come into the house because he had borrowed money from me and actually kind of just stolen money out of my purse one day and never really paid me back. And I, you know, called him on it, and he just didn't want to pay because he's probably a narcissist as well. You know, narcissists always tend to team up with other narcissists. I'm noticing that more and more. So he was kind of afraid to even come in the house. Not that I would have confronted the guy. I mean, $50 is still $50, but I'm sure he'll get ripped off a lot in his lifetime. So his rotten choices and who he is aren't going to really make or break my life in any way, right? So anyway, she acted like, well, he wants me to be a girlfriend to him and blah, blah, blah. This guy didn't have anything to offer anybody, and I wasn't the least bit jealous. I think maybe she wanted me to be, but I wasn't. And it's funny because I called up my narc that night, and he just totally lost it on the phone with me. Like, heard my voice say hello, and he just, I hate you. Just the monster from hell, right? The demon. You heard the demon that night. And she heard him on the phone. And I lived at an extended stay for that period of time in my life before I bought my lovely duplex here in Rockford, Illinois. And so it was funny, as the next day we were hanging out at her place until wee hours of the morning because, you know, I was a friend and I hung out with her. Well, then she asks me for $700. And I'm like, that is unreasonable to ask of me. My position is not to help you out financially. And if you're with this guy and he cares about you so much, why aren't you asking him? So anyway, what happened is she knew that I called my narc that night. They were speaking because the second I pull out of my driveway from my extended stay to go to Costco, I was getting razor blades that day, I remember. He said to stop over to his house with hand gestures and said from his car, because he pulled up next to me at a stoplight, that I have some stuff of yours at my house and I want you to come pick it up. And so I thought, well, it's best that I do pick up the rest of my stuff. I had an awful lot of stuff in storage in his basement that was probably still there, right? Because I hadn't picked it up and I'd been moved out for 1.5 years. Now, it was a coincidence that I'd seen him that day, immediately after hanging out with her, telling her that I would like, we were talking about something about him. And I go, it'd be nice to run into him for this purpose. I think it was something of mine, and maybe he had it at his house. I don't even know if he had it, like some swimsuit bottoms or some kind of outfit. You know, you can't just buy again because it's old, but it was like meaning something to me sentimentally. I think I mentioned it to her. But anyway, I think that she had called him up and told him that I wanted something from him, whatever she told him. And I think in return, she was showing him people new meat for him to kind of take over in his little circle of a narc harem. You know, for whatever reasons he would need them for. Drugs, sex, you know, outlets, plug in for something, place to place, people to people. I mean, I know that my narc didn't want me to move in with him at the end of me moving out of my house at Barclay, because there was a girl he was seeing like 1.5 miles from that house, because I actually followed him there in one of his fits of rage one night and into the next morning, because I turned on his location on his phone and he didn't know, and then I politely asked him to leave and kept my cool to figure this out, because I knew there was a reason. There's a couple different girls that he was seeing, and that probably is part of the reason they don't want you living with them, is they are seeing other people all the time. So anyway, the narcissist backstabbing world of friendship, it goes on and it never ends. And if you're a part of it, you're going to have something stolen. You're going to have something taken from you, whether it's your sanity, your time, your resources, your money, your friendships, you know, your job, your purpose, even your kids' sanity. I mean, they're sitting there contemplating constantly how they can get inside your head or somebody else's to reprogram it against you. And the more they're around you, the more they can feel that satisfaction to get what they want from you or other people, because they know the outcome when you go around these people that you're not around at the moment, right? So, and you'll notice they act different with different people they're around. Like, there's this one time, I remember we went over to his friend Jay's house, and we were going to trade him some kind of tequila for some other alcohol and weed or something. And on the way there, we got there early, and the guy has always got an excuse why his phone dies. And so then he answers the door finally. Supposedly he had a death in the family, but whatever, you know. It's like, I asked him, I go, why is it you always have an excuse? He puts up 2 middle fingers, he backs away from his storm door, and is like, fuck you. I was like, oh my God. And then I said to Vin, on the way out walking, not even to the guy, because he slams the door after we made the trade and whatever, with a smile on his face. The guy got so upset with me, and Vin got so upset with me apparently at that moment, he kicked me, this is the second time he's ever done this, kicked me out of the car basically in the next town where we weren't even by, and I didn't know anybody. Then he goes back to the house that I warned him never to go back to if those are your real friends, because he wouldn't even let the girlfriend of the other guy even talk to me. The whole 5 years of our relationship, she didn't want anything to do with me, not even a simple hello. And these people would constantly disrespect me when I'd go to their place. Any kind of gathering that we would have, they'd have their 4 pit bulls, you know, untrained dogs just jump all over you. Nothing bothers me more than narcissistic pet owners that have no consideration for anybody's like feelings and stuff about, you know, how they feel about it. Like, kennel your dogs or train them. Like, those are the two options. I'm not going to sit here and tolerate somebody's animals jumping all over me. So anyway, these people have no respect. They have no regard, for any kind of fairness or any kind of humanity. So eventually it just got to a point where after I was kicked out of the car, nobody would help me even take me to a safe place. But he went back to that guy's house, and his girlfriend, the nutty girlfriend that actually the guy cheated on twice, and the girl that he cheated on this girl, Kelsey with, we'll call her Kelsey, shows up at his house one day because he's ignoring her calls. I don't know where he went, to Mexico or Las Vegas or something. And she's like, "Hi, remember me?" I thought that was so funny to hear. Like, if a guy's avoiding you and ignoring you, what do? Well, you show up at his house. Well, not a normal woman wouldn't, I guess, but they certainly thought that there was something more there, or she did, with that guy than, what was really done with. And then she ended up moving out, and then Kelsey moved back in. Kelsey moved out, moved back in. Yeah, she doesn't have anywhere to go. She doesn't, have a good job or anything. She didn't just have to go home to her mom's house, and, God forbid, we don't want to end up there. So, anyways, I was going to say to her when she pulled up after she tried to run me over with the car, you're going to beat me up over a guy that was cheating on you that'll probably do it numerous times over and over again. Does that mean anything to you? Like, you're trying to go out and protect your man like he was even in any danger? I mean, I maybe said something to Vin in passing about, I wish somebody would beat him up or something. I said, I was just talking trash, basically. Not even to the guy, but supposedly they wanted to use that to fight me, to put me in harm's way. And it came out later on, that's what Vin wanted all along. He wants me to get in confrontations with people. He wants other people to physically hurt me. I feel like he even instigated it through my own mother living with this black guy that's a pet to her and really kind of a naive person, but desperate, in his 50s, and my mom's 65, so they kind of just cohabitate because nobody else will deal with either of them with how they are as people. So anyway, it's like, I feel like all these different situations were meant to put me in harm's way. They're never just coincidences. And after all of that drama, after me almost getting run over by a car, him kicking me out of the car, which wasn't like him, coming back around to pick me up, "Oh, I'm your savior, you better get in," and then going back to my house and having to settle the whole thing that shouldn't have even been a big deal with drama, he was still friends with the guy. But basically, it was to keep me further and further out of that circle because there was so much more going on I didn't know anything about. So, that's the thing with these people, you guys, is you can't be a part of this double life. And if you try to be, you'll get scared out so many times. And believe you me, it's on purpose. And they don't know exactly what the end result's going to be. So if I was you, I wouldn't even hang around to find out what it is. I wouldn't even be a part of it. I'd just excuse myself and say, I'm not going to go. I don't think I should be a part of that. And that's eventually at the end what I started doing. Oh, he wanted to bring me over to Chris and Liz's house. Come play darts with us. Are you kidding me? You don't want to play darts with me when I asked you to do it, but if a couple wants to, that have a few things in common, that live an hour and a half away from where you live, you're all about it. It's just... And then, I would imagine he's backstabbed them, or something's went wrong there too, because I don't think he has them around nearly as much as he used to, from when I left him. But these friendships with the narcs are never lasting. These friendships are all based on transactional relationships and what they can get. And if you're not willing to give what they want, and usually you're the one giving more than you're getting, they don't really have time for you. And they'll tolerate a certain amount of unfairness, but only if the payoff at the end of the long con of the long friendship is going to benefit them somehow. So anyway, I don't know if you guys have any stories about backstabbing friendships, but I mean, that's just kind of the way it is. It's all about cruel intentions. If you haven't seen that movie with, Catherine and Sebastian and Sarah Michelle Gellar is the main character, Catherine, you should really watch that movie. And you'll really see how things develop with narcissists, how they get along in their cruel world, and how it's based on mockery and superficial garbage. And then Wild Things is another good movie with Neve Campbell and Denise Richards. It's a real shame what happened to her, huh? Once you got with Charlie Sheen, everything kind of went down the hole for her as well. She used to be one of the most beautiful people to see on the screen. But, you know, if you are smart, you'd pay attention to the beginning signs of narcissism. You'd hold off having sex with them for 30 days or even longer to get to know you. And if they're not willing to stick around for that, if they're pressing it and acting like, well, you're not open-minded, well, I don't see why you're so stubborn. No, it's not called stubborn. It's called standards. It's called I know what I want. And, you know, maybe I'll be alone until I find somebody that wants to actually have something real, but I'm not going with fake anymore. And the whole thing in life, it's all about what you don't know. And it seems scary, but that's the truth. Somebody in high school said that to me years ago. His name was Chris. And he goes, you know what, in life, it's all about what you don't know. And it's the truth. So, I mean, anyway, I hope these stories kind of help people realize who they are as people and who exactly that you're dealing with. And if you're not really like somebody, you shouldn't be hanging out with them, because think about it. Birds of a feather flock together. Don't think their friends out there cheating, doing porno, you know, hand jobs and blow jobs in their basement with each other with guys, and then your boyfriend's not doing it too. That's almost impossible to believe. You are deceiving yourself. And that'll be another video that I put up there, is how victims deceive themselves, because I know I did for a long time. I have more to share about that. I hope this video helps somebody, and like, share, and subscribe. Rosina Star.